Hello YouTube, this is Shhukn of Cardfight Coast, and today we're doing a deck profile for the Perdition Dragons. We'll start with the grade 0, so I'm using Tinderspear Draco Kid. Great pressure, just call it to either left or right rear guard, and basically blocks your opponent from calling things there if they want to keep their units. For the triggers, we are starting with 4 heal, because you have to have 4 heal. We're using 7 crit and 5 draw. Mainly because you have to have 4 Gatling Claw, and I like a little bit more extra draw power just to try and keep myself ahead of the game, especially on the decks that generate hard advantage quickly, or calls especially. The grade 1 lineups, we are using 3 10k attackers, great early on, great bit if you do really need an attack later on, you can be used, but generally not advisable. We've got the gains 3k when something in the same column is retired, so again, something like Pain Laser comes with a 13k booster, can't be bad. The deck, well, the card in the deck that really makes everything possible, the Unflipper. When something in the same column as it is retired, Soul Blast 1, unflip a piece of damage. It's not once per turn skill, so if 2 things are retired, you can get 2 unflips. The Pain Laser skill, this is utterly brilliant. For the Sentinels, we do 3 PGs, 1 Quintet. The Quintet, if you really are stuck, you can use it to get those cards into the drop zone and recycle those triggers, which will inevitably be there unless you are Dahvie. The grade 2 lineup, we have got the Lamb. When you Legion, retire something in the same column as it. It's always great fun just to call 2 in the same column and just retire entire column if you're spiteful like that. We've got 4 Menace Laser. With Counter Blast 1, retire something in the same column. I'm sure you can guess what the theme of this deck is. You just need to have a Perdition Vanguard. Oh dear, what a shame. And then we've got 4 of the 12k attackers. 1 in Legion Rare, because Legion Rare is so pretty. Big shout out to the Putman for hooking us up with those.
You're welcome.
For the grade 3 lineup, we've got 4 Pain Laser Dragon, Counter Blast 1 when it Legions, to retire entire column. The entire deck basically works around this mechanic. You get insane power boost from it, and you can just do really dirty turns. And finally, just for the extra muscle, we have got 4 Dragon Newt, again 1 Legion Rare, again shout out to Putman.
Welcome.
It's Counter Blast 2 and literally something with the same name as something on Vanguard. When it's in Legion, you can retire 2 grade 2 or less rear guards on the opponent's side of the field and deal 1 point of damage to your opponent if they're on 4 or less. The bonus of this is that no trigger effects work, so you can really screw people over to really push for that extra damage a bit later on. And it's also got the minus skill of gains 3k when something's retired, so use its skill, it swings for 7 for huge numbers by itself, which is just dirt. Anyway, I've been Shhukn of Cardfight Coast, and this has been my deck profile for the Perdition Dragons.
On YouTube, it's Dahvie from Cardfight Coast. Here I'm going to talk to a deck that is a bit dated now. It's the Shadow Paladins Abyss Break Ride Legion deck. Okay, first of all we're going to start with the starter, which is Judge Blau Revenger. Awesome opener. If it supports a grade 3 with Illusionary in its name and hits, you get to Superior Cool 2 grade 1s. I'll show you the 2 grade 1s that I use. Using it is absolutely broken. Naturally we're going to use 4 heal, and then we're going to go 8 crit, because obviously you want that pressure with when you use PBA. Also use 4 draw. Take a note that these are all Revenger cards. Now, 4 Sentinels, 3 PGs, 1 Quint. Debating about changing this to actually another perfect guard. Reasons is that I'm very unlucky with Quint guards, and the last few tournaments I've been playing in, I've been hitting 4 to 5 grade 3s. Fantastic when it comes to the final blow. So yeah, still won the tournaments, but it doesn't matter on that. But I really recommend changing that last Quint guard for the PG, just because. Right, with the Judge Blau, I use 2 broken swords. Wouldn't use any more or any less. Reasons is if you're going to hit the skill, you're going to hit it. If not, then they're going to become dead in your hand. You can't sack them for PBA's skill. They're not great boosters, and just because of that, they're ditch fodder once again for other cards. Run 1 Transcendent Revenger Masquerade. I always call that wrong, it's not Masquerade, but still. Great 10k boost, a 10k swinger, really good for early pressure. This is what this deck's all about. Get in there, absolutely destroy your opponent. My third ride, for if I'm going first, is you drop draw. Because you will be running Legion and Break rides, you will be playing probably a lot slower than what your opponent if they're just playing straight out Legion. So you need to be able to keep up with the pace. So usually you end up with something like a Broken Sword or a Dead Draw card, so you just want to rest it, throw it away, draw into what you need, fill up that drop zone as quickly as possible so you can just sit there and take the damage, because you just want that pressure there for late game. I run 3 Dorrant. The reason why I run 3 Dorrant is because I run 4 Blasted Dark Revenger. You need to unflip that damage so you can abuse skills, because it's a very counterblast heavy deck. You've got things like Judge Blau Revenger, you've got Illusionary Phantom Mordred, which, you know, both counterblast 1. PBA is a counterblast 2. So, you know, it's a very counterblast heavy deck. Also, at points of the game when you're playing things like Touch Akazi, you're probably going to maybe want to use these skills depending on your situation. The same with the Abyss Revenger as well. There's going to be situations where you're going to have to get rid of those grade 1s or grade 0s because you do not want those skills going off. All about putting that early pressure on, clearing their field. Right, I run the 4 grade 2 Masquerades. 12k swingers by themselves, fantastic, especially when it comes to Mordred Phantom Break Ride. There's 17. Okay, you can't ask for better numbers than that for a grade 2. For some reason I can only find 3 at the moment, but there are 4 Mordred Phantoms somewhere. I run 4 Mordred Phantom. Once again, the Break Ride's fantastic skill. Counterblast 1 to superior call a grade 2 Shadow Paladin from your deck. Usually use this to call a Masquerade or a Blasted Dark Revenger with a Dorrant behind it. So you know, if you're short on counterblasts, you're still keeping those counterblasts. So when you break ride on over with PBA. Then we run 4 PBA. PBA, it's only Legion turn skill. That is the only problem with this deck. But if you break riding or that same turn, it's 32 by itself, and it restands if you have 3 other Avengers on the field that you can sacrifice. Once again, you cannot use Broken Sword to sacrifice for this ability. That is the only downfall. But everything else, it's everything apart from the other witch. Is all tribute fodder, so there should be no problem at all. Such pressure in with this deck. Yeah, such pressure. You know, it's usually it'll be swinging for about 24. You've got 32. When it restands, you're probably even seeing into 40s. I've had PBA swinging in at 50s. You know, break ride turn, C2 crits, they PG'd, C2 crits again or something ridiculous. Game. You can't ask much more in this deck. That's pretty much all the deck can tech with it. That's the shed pads with Dahvie. And thanks.